SuperTalk.fm. We're also streaming from that SuperTalk Mississippi app and your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. And don't forget about watching us. You can do that over on your computer or your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. We got one of our Good Things faithfuls joining us back again today. We got Scott Burns. He is with 7 Days for the Troops. You may have heard that. If not, we'll tell you more about it. And they're up to some really good tomorrow for a U.S. Army veteran. They're in Oxford, Mississippi. So welcome back, Scott.
Hey, thanks for having me back on. Excited to tell you about what we've got going on over here in Oxford.
Well, every time I talk to you, you're just busy out there doing some good things. And when you told me about the event coming up tomorrow in Oxford, I thought, man, more folks need to hear about all that's going on right here in our state for our veterans. So what you got tomorrow, Scott?
Well, tomorrow we'll be presenting a 70-year-old Army veteran, Mr. Frankie Dunn, with a brand-new tiny home, compliments of our friends at Purple Heart Homes and the work that we do with 7 Days for the Troops.
That's awesome. That is great. How did he get selected? How did Mr. Frankie get selected for this?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was getting ready for my event in Tupelo back in June, and somebody found out about what we do, and they reached out to us and said, hey, could you possibly go in and renovate this guy's storage building that he's living in into a tiny home for him. And we got pictures of it, and I was like, there's no way that a veteran's going to live in something like this. So I reached out to my friends at Purple Heart Homes, because in the past they helped us with a tiny home for a veteran in Winona, and told them what we were trying to do and to see what they could do to help us. And they actually had a tiny home that had already been built, and it was on their property there in Statesville, North Carolina. And so they agreed to bring it here and help be a part of what we were doing. And because of their efforts and the donations that we received from people in Mississippi, we were able to make this project possible.
And tomorrow, Mr. Frankie gets his new home?
Yeah, tomorrow at 10:30, we're going to be giving Mr. Frankie his house. And I kind of teared up a little bit earlier. He actually rode out here with somebody to drop off a mailbox that we're going to put up for him, and he closed his eyes because he didn't want to see it until tomorrow.
Oh, I love that. I couldn't do that, Mr. Frankie. I would be all peeking just a little bit around the corner, would need to see it, but I can get. So what does this mean to Mr. Frankie? I mean, compared to, obviously he had somewhere to live, but it just wasn't up to par. How will this make Mr. Frankie's everyday life just better?
Well, I mean, it's going to be 100 times better. Long story short, Mr. Frankie he was married, had a wife. They lived in a mobile home. His mobile home burnt down, and I guess in the process of that, he just decided to convert a storage building into somewhere to live. And nobody knew the living situation he was in until he had a stroke. And somebody came out here and saw what he was living in, and that's how they reached out to us and said, hey, is there something you can do to help? And so we were able to do this project, and I'm going to tell you, the community has stepped up, and they've helped us, from our contractors to the volunteers we have out here today, building the deck to put on the wheelchair ramp and the deck on the front of his house, and just all of it that goes into it. But at the end of the day, the community gets to come together and welcome Mr. Frankie Dunn, welcome home. And he didn't want the help. When he found out that we were doing it, he said, no, I don't want it. And I explained to him that he deserves it. And it took a little convincing, but once he accepted the offer of help, we kind of got the ball rolling and was able to put this together in a matter of a couple of months.
You have partnered, Scott, with Purple Heart Homes. This is more of like a recent partnership, correct? You've been doing 7 Days for the Troops for how many years now?
I've been doing 7 Days for the Troops for 18 years, and we've actually sent money to Purple Heart Homes for probably 11 or 12 years now as part of what we do with our fundraising to help other veterans organizations. But I've seen the work that they've done across the country, helping veterans, from projects like this to doing roofs on houses, air conditioners. They have a large footprint across the country. But what I really like about them is 7 Days for the Troops is a very small nonprofit in comparison to a lot of them. And so when somebody comes to us with a big project like this and we don't have the funds available, I know we can count on people like Purple Heart Homes to help make it possible.
And this is the second tiny home that you've been able to sort of work with Purple Heart Homes to give, correct?
Yeah, we were able to do one last year in Winona for a veteran that lost his house in the tornado that hit that area, and then we've got this one, and you know, I believe that if we as nonprofits work together to accomplish the same mission, we're stronger together, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who gets the credit for it as long as the veterans get help, and that's why I think me and Purple Heart Homes and the different organizations that I work with work so well together, because it's all about the mission of helping veterans.
Now, your mission with 7 Days for the Troops, you mentioned, started 18 years ago with the hope to help veterans. I will never forget the start of your story, Scott, when you talk about veterans having to buy calling cards when they went overseas to be able to call. I'm like, man, that just really dates, when you'd actually have to buy a card to call home. Do they still have to do that? They don't still have to do that. There's other ways to get a call home now, right?
Yeah, they can actually use their cell phones overseas now, and it's not as expensive. But, yeah, it started out as I still wanted to serve kind of deal that's turned into I'm still serving here 18 years later. Even though I can't be in the military anymore, I can still be a part of helping to make sure that our men and women that have served and that are serving are taken care of. And speaking of that, I hope you don't mind me plugging.
No, please do.
In November, the week of Thanksgiving, I'm actually going to be on a tower in Pearl, Mississippi, there at the outlets of Mississippi. So I want to encourage people to come out to that. But we've got a lot of stuff going on between now and the end of the year, and our mission is just to help point people into a direction. Everybody wants to help, just some people don't know where that help needs to go. And so that's our mission, is to show people that, hey, we've got this organization here in Mississippi that is helping veterans. And 7 Days for the Troops, I try to plug this every time I'm on your show. We're one of the only nonprofits that can truly say 100% of every dollar donated goes to help veterans, because we have sponsors to cover all of our other stuff. And so if somebody makes a $10 donation, $10 actually goes to help veterans.
Which is definitely a good thing. And for those that haven't heard of 7 Days for the Troops, Scott, if they come out and see you wherever you go, I know you go from Tupelo to here in Central Mississippi and beyond with your events, you spend 7 days in the air. That's your stitch. You don't come down, right?
Yeah, 168 hours straight. I stay camped out 12 to 13 feet in the air, raising money and playing music and doing all kind of fun stuff. And if somebody's like, hey, I really want to know more about what's going on, or I want to donate to help fund this project for Mr. Frankie Dunn, I'm going to give out my personal cell phone number at 662-401-3349. That's 662-401-3349. Shoot me a text. I can send you a link of a place to make a donation. I can give you more information about if you want to be out here tomorrow, you're in Oxford, and you want to come welcome Mr. Pyron or Mr. Dunn home. Just send me a text. I'll give you the information. Or if you want to volunteer for our next project. I mean, we're able to do what we're doing out here today because we've got probably 12 people out here volunteering to build a deck and do the things that need to be done. So some people can't give financially, but we all have a little time we can give, and for those that can't give time, you got prayer. So there's always ways to contribute to the projects that we're doing.
What time will Mr. Frankie get to come home tomorrow?
10:30.
10:30. Will he have family there with him?
He's got some family here, and he actually has the son-in-law or the stepson that I'm dealing with is actually in Germany right now in the military. He's in the Army serving in Germany, and he's helped facilitate a lot of what we're doing for Mr. Dunn. While he's serving in the military in Germany, he's making sure that Mr. Dunn is taken care of over here in the United States.
Well, if we want to see pictures after the fact, where can we go, Scott, to at least keep up with everything that you're doing? I know you mentioned different ways to get involved. Do you have a website? Is there a Facebook account if we kind of miss some of those where we could shoot you a message or just follow along with all the good things you're doing?
Yeah, go to our 7 Days for the Troops Facebook page, and it's the number 7 Days for the Troops, 7 Days for the Troops, and go to 7daysforthetroops.org. 7daysforthetroops.org, and you can follow our website and some of the exciting things that we've got going on, and how you can be a part of a big part of what we're doing. So,
Well, I am excited for Mr. Frankie. I love, Scott, that you just never give up on trying to help veterans and using your platform, figuratively and literally, to help those. So we'll have to get you back before Thanksgiving and maybe get you back in the studio and talk about your 7 days for the troops event that will be coming up.
Well, I don't know why you can't come do good things from top of the tower one day while we're out there, you know. Just have a little fun on top of the tower. Just a little seed to plant out there for you.
There you go. It would be a first. That would be for sure, Scott. You know, I'm a little scared of heights, though, so I don't know. We will never say never. How about that?
I got you. All right. Well, thank you for having us on, and if you're in Oxford, come by and be a part of the show tomorrow.
I love it. All right. I'll be looking for photos, too, Scott. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. You guys stick with us. We got more for you.